Chapter 5, In Mourning. Kino. I opened my eyes, and I felt nauseated because everything was moving all around me like I was riding a ship, and the waves were taunting the captain to make the ship dance. My face was sore, and I could feel a pricking pain developing on its right side. I could barely see with my right eye, which was probably because of a bad wound. I tried looking down to my feet and caught a glimpse of my left leg bound with bandages. At least, these soldiers had been kind enough to tend to the arrow wound. My stomach grumbled, and I felt sick. I was tired, hungry, and aching all over. My body parts were numb where the ropes bound them. I wished I did not go away alone on this journey. If Pyper and Mayo were with me, perhaps the soldiers would not have caught me. Pyper would have probably been able to think of something to trick the soldiers. And Mayo, with all his bluntness, would have been able to throw the general off course by saying something scathing and mean. But then I remembered the danger I brought upon my friends, and I thought to myself that it was right that I had left them behind. I blinked back the tears that started forming in the corners of my eyes. I promised Pyper that I would have courage. That I would not run any more. If I stayed, would it mean the same thing as captivity? Beside me was a man who looked old enough to be my father. In the darkness, I saw him glance at me. There was a trace of worry in his eyes, and I did not know if he was genuinely worried about me or if he were concerned I would die before I reached the Emperor. "Try not to move, boy," he said in hushed tones. "The general wants you punished for hitting him in the face." I opened my mouth to speak, but no words came out. My throat was dry. "Water, please," I begged. The man looked around first before pulling the horse to a stop. "Open your mouth," he ordered in a voice that commanded attention. The other soldiers glanced at us. Then I felt the cold water trickle down my face. I edged my head higher so that my mouth could catch the liquid, but it was like a game to the soldier. He either pulled back or pushed forward the water. The other soldiers laughed. "Enough of the show," the soldier said quietly. "Drink now, boy," he said. This time, the water fell straight to my mouth, and I was thankful for it. I looked sideways to signal the soldier that I wasn't thirsty anymore. He pulled at the reins again, and the horse I was strapped to started moving. "Where are we?" I asked. "Anerida." "How long before we reach Canella?" "Not in less than a month," he said. "What's the hurry?" I shook my head and stared at the leaves of the trees covering us. Every now and then, the leaves would part, and the sky would peer at me. Escape was all I could hope for now. If it would take us a month to reach Canella, then it meant that's how long I still have before I finally face the Emperor. "What's your power?" I asked the soldier. He grunted and laughed weakly. "Where I came from, it is considered inappropriate to ask someone about one's power," he said. "Oh. I'm sorry. I wished he would have answered me. That way, I would know what power I could use to help me in my escape." "It's all right. I'm not thin-skinned like the Akeans." "Will the general allow me to straddle the horse?" "I'm uncomfortable in this position," I said. The soldier eyed me warily. "Why did you punch him?" I met the soldier's eyes, and some memories flashed inside my head. He was there days ago in the Loondu Palace. The soldier that I bumped against. He had looked worried then, the way he did now. The soldier was waiting for my response. "We were all surprised to see you throw such a strong punch. Caught the general off guard," he said. I wondered if that strength came from the general or from one of the soldiers nearby when I threw the punch. If only I knew whose power it was, I would be able to use it to my advantage. "The general killed my last hope," I said. "Your last hope? Of escaping the Emperor?" I shook my head and closed my eyes. I could feel the uneven road we were traveling on. Each bump sent me thumping against the saddle. I fought the urge to groan in pain. Of finding my mother. The soldier fell silent after that. Of the bunch of soldiers around, he was the one who seemed to care a little about me. "Your mother?" he asked. "I lost her. Only the news of her death reached me. The man she trusted came to me and told me that my mother was gone, I said. I tried so hard to prevent my voice from breaking, but I could not help it. The pain of losing my mother was still too much for me to bear. The soldier bent down to look at me and wiped my wet cheeks. I pulled back from him in embarrassment. My right cheek throbbed even from the lightest contact with his gloved fingers. "I'm sorry," the soldier said. "Time will heal your pain." I gazed at the sky above, wondering when that time would come. "Right," the soldier said. "What?" "When I lost my wife, I started to write," he said. "It helps if there's someone to talk to, but there aren't always willing ears to listen to sad stories. So, write." I could imagine Mayo laughing at me if he saw me carrying a parchment and a pen to write about what I felt. I would never hear the end of it. At least the thought made me smile. "You can laugh about it, but trust me. Your friends will eventually get tired of hearing you talk about how much you miss your mother. Sooner, it will just be you and your thoughts. And if there's no one to talk to, what would you do?" "Maybe I'll try it when my hands are not bound by ropes," I said. The soldier looked at me, concerned. "Why are you being friendly to me?" I asked. At that, he grunted. "I'm not. But I don't think you're dangerous enough." "Dangerous? Do they think I am dangerous? Like how? Do they think I might explode the way the Emperor did when he learned who my mother was?" I asked in a controlled voice. I was upset, but I did not want to catch the other soldier's attention. Who was Lamar Amark aside from the Emperor's royal scribe? Or should I say former royal scribe? I did not answer because I had nothing to offer. Amark is a common name in Achaea. There had been several Amarks who became emperor. But I see no connection with why the Emperor could be so keen on capturing you. He paused. "What can you move now?" "Huh? With your power. What can you do with Distantecus?" "I forgot about that. The stupid power that got me into all this mess." "I don't know. I don't think I can move anything," I said. And it wasn't a lie. I was only able to manifest Distantecus because Pyper was with me making a wooden box float by lifting it up and throwing it around while she was invisible. "That's why I don't understand any of it," the soldier said. "You're a mere boy?" He said the last statement as though he did not mean for me to hear. I wanted to tell him that it was a big question for me too, but I dared not. "Will you help me escape?" I asked. For a while, my heart stopped beating. The soldier tensed. "From where I came from, it is most inappropriate to ask someone to renounce his honor," he said grimly. I did not understand what he said, but with the way his body tensed, it was as good as him saying a resounding no. "Then please ask the general to let me have my rest. I can't feel my legs anymore," I begged. The soldier nodded solemnly. "That's where I can still be of service to you," he said before stopping the horse and handing the reins to another soldier. "I will have a word with the general." "Watch him," he said.